Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation on legal and ethical issues, a course review. My name is Eden Ovando. This is for MPA 580 with Dr. David Powell, and I'll be reviewing the 5 things I know now that I didn't know when starting the course. The first thing is the concept of the ethics triangle. I was not familiar with this concept before starting this course, and I was able to learn a lot about it. The primary points that really piqued my interest were that values can be subjective and that ethical dilemmas are not right and wrong. They have to be solved in a way that is right for everyone. And I think this is very applicable in public administration because everything we do has to be for the greater good and has to cater to everyone in order to efficiently administrate. And so the ethics triangle really puts a perspective on that, especially with the 3 types of approaches being principles, consequences, and virtue based approaches. Each one of these approaches, I think, really caters to each administrator individually. And so everyone has an opportunity to choose what approach they might use when dealing with an ethical dilemma. And each one of these has a great outcome. The second thing that I learned is the theory of utilitarianism. I truthfully had studied utilitarianism briefly in my criminal justice undergrad studies, but I didn't know the depth of it the way that I do now, especially considering that it is a moral theory and is based really on results and the consequences of our actions. That's not how I understood it before. So now that has changed the way that I see utilitarianism. And now I feel I see it in a lot of public administration because policies are meant to serve the greater good. And then in the field that I want to go to, which is law enforcement, officers, their goal is to serve the greater good as well. So that really ties into some of the career paths that I want to take later on. Aristotle's virtue theory was one of my favorite theories to learn about in this course, and I wasn't familiar with it before, so it was very interesting to see how virtue is detailed in this theory. I mainly really enjoyed learning about the courage concept in this theory of being able to assess a situation and then act accordingly. Again, I do want to enter into the field of law enforcement, and I feel that this is the one of the best ways to deal with situations while out in the public. And so I really like this concept of courage and also the different vice, virtue, vice. So the different measures of these different factors within the virtue theory were very interesting and not something that I knew before. A fourth thing I know now is that of how street level administration shapes the way an organization is viewed by the public. So, street level administrators really have a big impact on the integrity of an organization, and their service to the public can really define how the trust that the public may have in that organization. And so, in this concept, I was able to understand how important it is at any level to work in a organization, but especially street level administrators because they carry so much weight in their actions, and following the ethical standards of an organization are very important. The fifth thing I know now that I didn't know before was responsible whistleblowing and the whistleblower laws that exist. As a library manager, I have put up the posters in my locations in which It informs employees about their rights for whistleblowing and the protections that they receive, but I never really looked it over in depth. And so this section of the course really helped me understand why responsible whistleblowing is so important, because the integrity of the organization and the loyalty to the organization you are working for are primary. And if you want to make a change, you really have to go about it by the book, and that will enact change in the organization. And so that's why there is laws to protect it, in order to avoid having unethical actions going on. And so that's basically what I understood. These are the references for the photographs and the concept I used in this presentation. I very much enjoyed learning about ethics in public administration and have been able to apply what I've learned to my workplace, and I hope to be able to do that in my future career, because it's so important to have ethics, and I understand that better now, and I see it now as well. I'm able to recognize ethical standards and ethical training a lot more than I did before. And a big thank you to all my classmates for leaving encouraging comments and for providing in depth information to add and help me learn. I enjoyed watching your presentations and learning from what you have learned and what you were presenting. And also, thank you to Dr. David Powell for guiding us through this course and teaching us these vital concepts.